Hey guys, the movie I want to talk about today is a classic. It's Ridley Scott's Alien. Now, when I first saw this movie, I was already a fan of Blade Runner, so I knew that great things were about to happen as soon as I watched this movie. And I kind of became obsessed with Alien when I was a kid. Like, I would watch it like really often. There was a period of time where I watched it like every other day for like 2 weeks. I don't know why. I just became really fascinated by it. And I think it's a mix of it's just the mood of the film. I also love all the characters and just how odd of a movie it is, but how clever it is as well. So I thought I would talk a little bit about my updated thoughts on the movie since I rewatched it last night. For no other reason than I know I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to sit there, watch Alien. I know it's a great film. Yeah. I might even notice some new stuff that I didn't notice before. So I think it's always worth rewatching movies, I think. Like, even if you think you know it very well, like you watched it many times as a kid, I know this movie very well, watch it again when you're a bit older, and it's going to be a completely new experience, I promise you. Now, this movie was honestly just as good as I remembered it. There's even some stuff that used to bother me a little bit about it that doesn't bother me anymore. I got to pay a bit more attention to the story, and I think it's just a really well-written film. Ridley Scott had a script that was so strong that all it needed was a striking visual style, okay, whether it's through the cinematography or the sets. And I think Ridley Scott delivered exactly what that script needed. Like, really, like with the help of H.R. Geiger, you got yourself some amazing looking sets. Yeah, the set design is incredible of the Nostromo. You've got some amazing creatures, great creature design for the alien and the face huggers, like the little ones as well. What I really like about it is you've got all this kind of alien mythology there, but you're kind of like seeing everything through these crew members of the Nostromo who don't really know anything. I mean, the only one who knows something is Ian Holmes' character, but he seems to have a secret of some kind that you learn later in the movie. I'm trying not to ruin the movie for you, but I mean, you should have seen it by now. It's Alien. All right, it's really, really good. And yeah, I mean, like I said, the mood of the film is really, it really kind of drags you in. You've got Ridley Scott showing off his really good ideas for shots. Like, you've got some individual images that are freaking stunning. Like when they first get to where the eggs are, etc. Just that whole sequence is beautiful to look at. Everything in the ship, like the way the ship is shot, those kind of slow moving shots. There's one shot that was really interesting where like there's John Hurt on, he's in med bay or whatever, and he's got the face hugger on him, and then the camera kind of moves in slowly around him. But you think it's going to go to him, but it doesn't. It goes all the way around very slowly to focus on something else. I thought that was really clever. Like, the way that he presents this ship, he makes you appreciate how pretty it is at the beginning. It's like, look at these beautiful corridors, right? Isn't this a cool set design? And then it turns out this is all him showing you these corridors, how nice they look, until the lights are turned off and there's an alien loose in those corridors. Then those corridors fucking scary as shit. And this is a scary movie, honestly. And they're very clever with the scares. Like, I think I could only count. There's a couple of jump scares that are a little bit cheap in their own way, but there's some really good ones as well. And it's not really about the jump scares. It's more about just putting you in the mindset of these crew members just kind of alone in space. They're basically there just to feed the alien, let's be real. That's why they're there. Not even just, from a writing standpoint, like the company that sent them, basically. Yeah. It's just very dark. It's very gloomy. The music is so atmospheric. It's so good. Ridley Scott firing on all cylinders. And then you've got the cast. All of this, and then you've got the cast, which includes, Sigourney Weaver, who's kind of low-key at the beginning of the film. She's kind of hanging back, kind of sort of trusts Ian Holmes' character at this point. Everybody kind of does. He's the science officer or whatever. So they kind of like, and there's like the main dude, Dallas, the bearded guy, who is actually in charge. But he's a little bit passive, more passive than he should be. But Sigourney Weaver, kind of Ripley, is hanging back a little bit at the beginning, and there's this big build up to her being not just the final girl, but like easily like the smartest member of the crew, like by far. Like, she should have been in charge, clearly. No, she's great. She's really, really good. Everybody else is Harry Dean Stanton in space. I mean, what more do you want? And he's so natural, and he's so Harry Dean Stanton in this movie. He's amazing. He's freaking amazing. Ian Holm, really incredible performance as well. Like, really. Like, underrated performance by Ian Holm. And so out of the things that used to bother me, which were nitpicks anyway, there's the bit where the alien surprises Dallas in the tunnel, in the corridor, or like wherever it is, like an air vent, and he goes, ah. I always felt that bit was kind of silly, and the alien looked silly, and he does, but I think, the alien's kind of growing up slowly. This is not the final form, which I never really thought about before, but yeah, this is not the final form of the alien. That's why he looks kind of weird, because he's in the middle of becoming its full potential. It's just that scene is not particularly scary, like when you actually see the alien, but it happens so fast. Honestly, it still had an impact, that scene. So that was like a little thing. I always thought like the kind of little alien dude that comes out of John Hurt looks a bit too cute. You kind of still get some of that, but it's such a brutal, disgusting scene that it still, again, has a strong impact. Like, that scene is freaking fantastic. The way it goes south so quickly. And you knew it was going to go south. But the way in which it's done is shocking. Like, I can imagine people watching this when was this movie made? 1979? And just kind of going like, holy shit, this is brutal. And then you've got the kind of, all the corridors and stuff later on, like Ripley trying to get the hell out of here and get rid of the alien once and for all. Just a really good slasher film, really good sci-fi film, really good alien film. It's one of Ridley Scott's greatest achievement. Now, people like to talk about how does it compare to Aliens, and I think Aliens, you can tell there's a little bit of James Cameron even in the first movie. Like, you can tell there's some scenes where you could see James Cameron shoot those scenes like that. So it made sense that he would make Aliens. And you know what? Like, James Cameron took what Ridley Scott did, and he's like, all right, let's make it like a proper crazy movie, Let's make it as cinematic as we can. Because Ridley Scott did his best, but he didn't have the biggest of budgets. And there's some parts around the beginning where you can kind of see the seams a little bit. Oh, this is clearly a set, etc. You don't necessarily feel like you're in space. Like, even the shots of the Nostromo, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's dated at this point. Aliens holds up better, I think, nowadays, just because, he had the budget to work with, and James Cameron, did the best he could with it, and he did a great job. But in terms of just the atmosphere and the characters, I think this movie still comes out on top. I think Aliens sometimes is a little too comic booky. You know what I mean? Like, a little bit too over the top at times with the characters, etc. Like, game over, man, game over. Yeah, okay. It's a good movie. Like, Aliens is a good movie, and I'm going to rewatch it next, so I'm excited about that. But I still feel, right now, this might change by the time I rewatch Aliens, but at this point, I still think Alien is just the best out of that franchise. It just has the right mood to it. I think the twists are surprising and work really well. There's some crazy images and like just some very bold effects in there. Like, I think the worst effect in that movie is when you've got Ian Holm. Oh man, well, I don't want to reveal too much. Spoilers from now on, okay? I've already spoiled some stuff, but spoilers again. Ian Holm's head is like cut off, and then like it cuts to the head after it speaks, and it's just like a freaking mask. Like, it's very clearly a mask. I'm like, why did you shoot it like this? Anyway, I think Ridley Scott was still, this was really good practice for Blade Runner. You know what I mean? I think Ridley Scott in general is kind of he's not a hit and miss director. Like, he's a great director. He just always has he has tiny flaws in his films. And I think there's some things that I perceived to be flaws before in this movie and in Blade Runner, which I think is just a stylistic choice. Like, for example, when the alien kills someone in this movie, there's like very quick, extreme close-up shots. And it feels really jarring, but I think that just that's a stylistic thing he's doing. Like I always thought it was like just weirdly edited. But it's actually very effective. It's just a very quick, horrible thing that you see for a split second. And then subliminally, you kind of remember it. It's at the back of your head for the rest of the movie. And yeah, it just leaves a lasting impression. No, this movie holds up. It's a must-see for any fans of sci-fi or horror. You gotta watch it. It's Alien, Ridley Scott, top of his game, Sigourney Weaver kicking ass, Jonesy the cat kicking ass, mostly, well, mostly getting his ass kicked, let's be real. It is quite funny how Ripley's like, I'm gonna save the cat, but I'm not gonna treat the cat well, okay? The cat box, I'll just throw him around. I'll just throw him, okay? He'll be fine. Like, he'll be fine compared to getting eaten by an alien. Like, I would have thought, the first thing that I thought rewatching this movie is like, what if, like, she, instead of saving the cat, she, like, saves the cat and then uses him as bait later on? Because let's be real, it's just a cat. As much as I love Jonesy, if it's you or the alien, and you can use Jonesy in some way, you got to do it. But yeah, everything from the set design to the art direction, the lighting's incredible in this movie. And the script, honestly. Such a strong script. Like, all the actors get some really good lines. Everyone just freaking delivers in this movie, and it holds up, okay? Like I said, a couple effects here and there are dated at this point, but I think it's a nitpick because everything else is so freaking good. It's the same with Blade Runner, right? There's some imperfections to Blade Runner, but when you look at it as a whole, you're like, wow, what a movie. And that's what I feel with this movie. What a picture. This is cinema, folks. All right, I'll be back. Probably next time I'll be rewatching Aliens, so there's that to look forward to. It's a must-see. It's a classic. Check it out. Alien. See you guys later.